Am I reading this right? Is this 2 hours?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's my one chance to do it before I get real busy here, so I
all
wanted
right.
to make the most of it. I've committed to the summer kind of as a hobby project to getting good at the game,
All
and it's
right.
been really fun.
Works for me. Works for me. I'm looking forward to it. So, what got you interested in coaching? I mean, you talked about like you had more to commit, I guess, but um, what got you
Um,
interested in the coaching specifically?
so I never played it, and then like in the fall, one of my buddies like plays some PC and stuff too, so he got me into it on console a little bit, and then I don't like being bad at things, so or at least feeling incompetent at things. So I've tried to just like got on YouTube, ended up finding you, like my other buddy that was just starting out too. We just started sending each other videos that we thought were helpful. We found like I think A10 first,
Yeah, A10's a good guy.
and then we found your channel. Yeah, so
Yeah.
kind of between the two.
Cool, cool. True story. I
Yeah.
used to coach A10 back in Overwatch, like pro Overwatch contenders, like
Oh, really?
4 years ago. Yeah, he was a DPS player. Transitioned Zarya main. Great guy. Super smart. Um,
Yeah, he seems awesome.
yeah, he's great. He's great. His videos are like phenomenal, like the editing and like the way he like communicates. He's also done a lot of like studying and I know in psychology and stuff like that. So it's like crazy.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I love that too. I'm a psych major in
oh really?
college hockey and stuff,
Cool.
so I love that whole side of it as well.
Cool. Now you're in an awkward position where you have two forms. Boy, I feel sorry for you. You have two forms.
Ah,
So
that's okay.
if that ever happens again in the future, you can
Uh-huh.
feel free to just kind of like put, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the question answers.
All
You don't
right.
have to answer it twice. So what I'll do is I'll go through each question. We'll kind of skim through. So are we looking at DPS and tank?
So I've got two tank codes. I kind of main tank, I guess. And then I've got two DPS codes. I hated playing DPS when I first started playing the game,
Yeah.
but eventually I kind of picked it up and started to figure it out like a little bit, but I think it really helped me understand the game as a whole better. I think that's what I want to get out of this more than anything is like I want to understand the game as a whole so I know like how better to support my teammates or how to be
Yep.
like annoying to play against for the other
Yep.
team.
Yep, absolutely. And I think,
Um,
think this is the perfect time to do it as
mhm,
well because Overwatch 2, there's never been more homogenization between roles than there has been in Overwatch 2. Supports, the only difference between
mhm,
supports and DPS and tanks, the supports generally have a little bit more utility, and they all have healing in one way, shape, or form. But
mhm.
there's not a huge gap. I would say tanks in general have more HP and a little bit more defensive utility. But it's like minor nuances where in Overwatch 1 it was like completely different, right? So
Yeah.
like if you're a good
Yeah.
tank player, good DPS player, good support player, understanding the fundamentals is going to carry over from role to role
Yeah,
very well.
that's definitely what I found as soon as I started to like diversify a little more.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, anyway.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Now, just a heads up that the way I
Uh,
handle these sessions, I don't know if you've seen it in my other sessions, is
oh yeah.
especially with somebody who we're going to have 2 hours, right?
Yep.
We're going to talk a lot about your training schedule and any
Sounds
questions
good.
that you may have because that's the most important thing that you can be doing.
Okay.
So let's just go through. We'll get to that in a second. Just a heads up. So.
Mm,
What do you hope to get out of the session? I want to better understand the game, how my play ties to team play, help to win games, better understand my play, maximum value. Then I go to your other form. Enjoy playing DPS. Think it's giving me a better grasp of the game. Okay, nothing crazy there. You got up to gold 1. Okay, this is actually, you answered this one pretty in depth. I appreciate that. You got to gold 1, and the mid to high plat lobbies were brutal. I often felt like I got stuck in the middle of the front line trades, was not able to provide value. I'd get deleted by hyper aggressive teams. Was this on support?
no, this was on tank. I've got
Tank.
a couple of friends that are like higher levels, and most of the
Yeah.
time I can kind of hang in the lobbies, but sometimes I'll get
Yeah,
deleted.
yeah. You know, it's actually that's a very
Mhm,
interesting point though, because there's the guy that coached me years ago,
mhm,
IOStux, made a video a couple years ago, which I really liked, and he talks about how like the trap of stacking with friends, where it's
mhm.
probably the most fun that you can have in Overwatch. It's basically the only
Yeah.
time I play Overwatch is when I'm stacking like quick play with friends or whatever
Right.
nowadays, right? Because I don't care about rank. So, but as you saw there, it's like you're sometimes put in situations where it feels like overwhelming, you know, and you get punished for stuff and
Yeah.
you're like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do here. That's where you have to be careful. So I wouldn't discourage you from stacking with friends because I know it's fun. It's like, but just be careful if you feel overwhelmed. Try to not let it bother you too much. Don't be too like gun shy from like making mistakes and feeding, because that's the game is expecting you to feed. The matchmaker is expecting you to feed. There's another bonehead on the enemy team that's probably feeding as well. That's how that's balanced out. So don't be discouraged, because you might make a right play, but because you're playing at like a high plat level and not a gold level where you're at right now, you're gonna get punished for it because you don't have the mechanics for it just yet. But it might still be the right play. You're just not good enough.
And it's fun. Like, I enjoy it. It becomes like a much headier game. I feel like. And I don't know. It's fun to throw yourself in the deep end sometimes.
Okay. Now you say here sometimes I end up on losing streaks, end up back in silver, even though I'm not really tilting. Obviously the tilt is the number one factor, but fatigue is another factor as well. Those are just the ones that you can control. The one that you can't control, and the most important factor, even more important than tilt, is just RNG. Because it's not like the matchmaker's bad. The matchmaker's, at least nowadays, fine. But there's 9 other players in the lobby that could be tilting, could be booming, could be super confident, could be entering flow state. Like, you might roll with a Zenyatta who's just like, he's about to just roll the dice and hit every single shot. I mean, we all have games like that, right? So who's to say that's not your team or the enemy team? So I think it's just like, don't take it too seriously if you go up and down and up and down. That's just the nature. It's also the nature of Overwatch 2 right now, because they're a lot more sensitive to smurfs and boosted accounts. So they tend to be a little bit quicker to move you up and down. So just kind of keep that in mind. Current game, gold 5. Is this on tank?
Yeah, back to silver for me.
Okay, back to silver, and then silver with DPS as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, silver's across the board.
Now, were we looking at support 2 today?
Yeah, if we have time. I just kind of.
Do you have a priority list
trying to learn the whole
for like
game.
roles?
Yep, I put them in order for you.
Okay. So
tank, DPS, support.
Tank, DPS, and support. Okay.
Yep.
Now this is going to be the big one, right? You said this was kind of like a short-term, like little project you got going on, but you're basically putting yourself into like painting the Sistine Chapel at your beginner art class, because you're learning 3 roles initially, 2 to 6 hours a day, 3 to 7 days per week, subject to vary.
Yeah.
Okay, fill me in on how that goes.
I mean, yeah. It's fine. I'm fine being in silver. I just want to, like, at this point, really learn the game, and then like over the next period of time where I do have some downtime, or however my schedule looks, and I can start to really push on like tank again and try to really climb with tank. But for right now, I just want to learn.
Okay, sounds good. So you talked about a little bit how your schedule might change. So as of, like, hey, let's just put it this way: for the next 3 or 4 weeks, can you give me a good ballpark estimate of how much Overwatch you're going to be able to play on the average day, and how many days per week? Just a guess. Find even just like a low ball guess.
Hour to 2 hours, probably 6 days a week.
1 to 2 hours, 6 days a week. Okay. So the funny thing is with your with your goals, with the average player's goals in like gold or silver, I'm like, yo, we can work with that. That's actually great. We can get you to plat, diamond, also. But you're doing all the roles, so it's gonna be tough.
I'll start playing just tank again. Like, as soon as I get going, I just want to, like I said, I just want to learn right now, and then I'll get back into. I'm not trying to climb with all of them. The only thing I'm really trying to climb with is tank.
Okay. Now what we can also do is I do have some tips for if you were to really want to commit to this, if you ever were.
Okay.
Now the biggest thing that I can tell you is you're going to need to understand two terms. Let me type these in your channel: minimum effective dose and the what is it? Cycling. We'll just say cycling. There's another term, I think it's macro cycling, but we'll just say with cycling for right now. So they're actually workout terms, where you basically go through periods of time where you focus on different aspects of your strength or your athleticism. And with cycling, and then minimum effective dose is a really, really hot term right now, because people are learning that, with workouts and even training professional athletes, you actually don't need to go as hard for as long as we've thought for the past, centuries, essentially. So the reason why that's important for you is it appeals more to your psychology and like what you're able to learn and develop in the least amount of time. So minimum effective dose is essentially what's the least amount of games I can play with full focus to make changes in my skill level, ability to perform. Not your ability to learn, but your ability to perform. In other words, if I make you play one Winston game a day for a month, how much better at Winston can you get in a month, right? It's not a lot of Winston, but if you're able to fully focus for that one game, how much better can you get? And for you, it's like, what is that like lowest estimate with your most efficient application? Does that make sense?
Awesome, yeah.
Okay. Now, the answer to that is really not clear. Now, because it depends on person to person. It depends very importantly on the amount of energy that you're able to give each game. Because if you're not able to fully focus because you're tired, you're not getting enough sleep, you're very busy with work, then you might have a harder time. But basically what you want to try and find out is like, how much focus can I give to be able to get a return on investment? We'll talk more about like what that is in application in a second. And the cycling is essentially putting emphasis on one or two aspects at a time at the expense of others for stickier long-term growth. Now, what that might mean is I focus on brute raw strength, and then I focus on speed, and then I focus on my plyometrics. So there's different workout applications. But for you, what that might mean is for these 2-3 weeks, I'm going to play 70% tank, 30% DPS. 3 weeks afterwards, I shift the percentage, 70% DPS, 30% tanks, or 50% tank, 50% DPS, or 20% tank, 50% support, 30% DPS. But there is an emphasis. You don't really want to be playing all three roles at the same amount. That's not what you want. And you really don't want to be playing two roles at the same amount. You want one role gets an emphasis for a period of time. And then after a period of time where you're able to focus, practice, and improve, you can then put that role to the side temporarily and focus on something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
The reason you do that is that you want to give it enough punch in the mouth to provoke change in your skill level. But because skill is generally sticky, you won't lose all that skill, even if you take a couple weeks break while you're focusing on something else. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's better to do these microcycles than it is to do a little bit of everything all the time. We don't want to do that. We want to give a little bit of emphasis here, a little bit of emphasis there, and shift that. Now, what that might mean for you is deciding what role, choosing what role to emphasize at any given time, and then within that training schedule, finding out the minimum number of games to play daily to improve at a specific hero. So that's kind of right there. That bullet point is putting both of them together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if we look at your schedule, you said tank is kind of your priority right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, always kind of has been.
Okay, so you got Zarya, D.Va, and a little bit of Rein. So kind of in that order. D.Va, Zarya, Rein, right? D.Va most important. So what that might mean is your minimum effective dose for D.Va is 2 games a day, 1 game of Zarya, right? So that's 3 games. And then what I would say is that if you were to play DPS afterwards, I would stick with 1 DPS and only 1 DPS.
Interesting. Okay.
The reason why is because you're putting more emphasis on what role right now?
Tank.
Right. So DPS doesn't get the flexibility that tank gets right now. Sorry, this is how it would have to be. Unless you were even if you were able to play more, I think you'd still want to aim for that. So what's the first DPS that pops in your mind that you would enjoy playing the most?
Soldier's been fun.
Okay, Soldier is very OTP-able, right? You do a lot of very flexible, totally fine. So then what you do is you go, okay, 2 to 3 games is D.Va, maybe 1 to 2 games is Zarya, 1 to 2 games is Soldier. So that would, let's actually type that just as an example. Perfect. Tank priority, prioritizing DPS secondary, example of 1 to 2 hours a day would be 2 to 3 games D.Va, 1 to 2 games Zarya, then 1 to 2 games Soldier. Now, the order is very important here. Do you notice that I put your tank games first? Why?
Yep. Because that's when I'm gonna have that maximum amount of focus.
Yes.
So it might take me a game to get warmed up, but then I've got 3 or 4 games of like full go on tank.
Exactly. That's it, exactly. So then when you get to Soldier, okay, maybe I don't have that same level of energy and focus, but it's not my important role. And then what would happen is if in the future you decide to go for DPS, we'll then flip the script. Soldier Tracer, 1 game of D.Va. You kind of see what I'm saying? And then if you were to have more time, look at the example that we gave you there. Let's say that you had 3 hours instead of 1.5 hours or 2 hours. What would you do? Where would you delegate that extra time? What does your gut say?
Another maybe 1 to 2 on a different DPS.
Sure.
And then
Here's what I would say. If I'm full honesty, I would say shell out another game to D.Va and Zarya first.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I would say shell out another game to D.Va Zarya, make that 3 to 4, 2 to 3, and then if you want to play another game of Soldier or play an extra game of like whatever other hero, that's fine too. The thing that you're gonna have to understand is like this is your quote unquote work schedule. So if you're on the weekend, when you're on the weekend, do you ever play for longer, just like chilling or playing with people for fun?
Yeah, like if I have an off day or something like that, yeah.
So if you play for longer, past 2 to 3 hours after your training schedule, the role quantity doesn't matter as it's for fun. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, that's usually when like my mechanics feel good, but my brain's half out the window, so I hop on Tracer and just play like a psycho, and it's a blast.
And here's the big thing too. Not that this is something that you necessarily want to do, but this is where you could play support.
Okay.
Even on a tank focus cycle where we talk about like 70-30, well, that 0% of effort can go into support, right? Yeah. The thing is that we just don't want any support and too many DPS heroes getting into our training schedule. That's
sounds good.
It's like when you work out, do you just like lie in bed the rest of the day? No, you walk, maybe you shoot some hoops or something like that, but like the majority of your training time you give a specific focus, right?
Right.
And that's the same thing with Overwatch. Now the only tricky thing, and this speaks to me, is that like some days I'll do like a sprint day, and I'm like push really hard, and then like I want to play, some of my brothers will be like, oh, like let's play basketball, so I'll like drive over. And I have to tell myself, don't go too hard. You're going to hurt yourself. Like you're gassed, So, if you go into those fun games and you're like stacking and you're like, all of a sudden you're like really sweaty, try-harding, that's a recipe for either getting boomed, right? Or you being extra tired the next day. So we don't want to overthink a video game, but just remember it's for fun. It's just for fun, So don't get too upset or too try hard. Okay, does all this make sense so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think with that example, you can kind of plug and play. If I have more time, I might go 3 to 4. I would say the ceiling for hard focus is generally 3 to 4 hours with little breaks between games, longer breaks at halfway point, and on a good amount of sleep. Does that all make sense right there?
Yep.
Okay. I highly recommend taking short breaks while you're in queue. Just getting up, walking around, even if you're only playing an hour, hour and a half. I think it's good. Okay. What do you do for warm up right now?
So kind of depends on what I'm playing, but I've been watching some of the other videos you put out. So I'll do like either like kind of the workshop aim trainer, or I'll just go into like an unranked FFA.
On tank?
On whatever I'm playing.
You're a bad man. That's perfect. Love it. Okay. No suggestions then. Okay. Cool. 7 hours of sleep. not bad, not necessarily low, not exactly high. It's just something to keep in mind.
Getting better. It's becoming a priority. So
Good for you.
moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Telling you the minimum effective dosage, like if you're able to understand like what's the minimum amount I need to play Overwatch, and you do that, like apply that to your life elsewhere, it leaves so much more time for health things like that. So
for sure, yeah.
Okay, long-term, short-term goals. Better understand the game better. I don't really care about my rank, but having more fun in live lobbies. Yeah, I think the nice thing about higher lobbies is generally there's a little bit less levers. There's a little bit more consistency with the game. It's nothing major. Like the previous session I actually just coached a grandmaster player live coaching, and there was like first game we coached, there was like a guy tilted and left the game. Yeah. So it doesn't. It's gonna happen in all ranks, but it is slightly more common in lower ranks. So I think the quality of games is definitely a thing.
It's fun when it gets like a little. That's why I enjoy those like plat lobbies, even if I sometimes get my ass kicked. But just like a little more heady plays, and it's fun. It's really fun.
Okay. Goals are just better understanding is like the big thing that you keep putting in here. I enjoy being a sweat in the process of getting better. Yeah, makes sense. What do you feel is holding you back from improving on tank? Understanding, especially of how the game is played at higher levels, how to be a good teammate at PK, and then DPS. A little bit of mechanics, but can you understand mechanics? Okay, nothing. Understanding, nothing. I'm basically looking for anything that's like super important to discuss, but nothing super crazy. I took it up at the end. Oh, you play hockey?
Yeah.
Nice. Where I used to live, hockey was huge. I was like up in New Hampshire, and everyone was like,
"Oh,
awesome."
Time. Yeah, I played like juniors out there, like under 21s.
So nice. That's sick. It
was super fun.
The closest I've got to hockey was just I used to play street hockey with my brothers and sisters all the time, but like that's about pretty much it. I was a bad man with the rollerblades, but it's not quite the same.
That's awesome.
Looking through here. Okay, we're done with your form here. Do you have any other questions?
No, I think I'm good. I love that schedule. That's super helpful.
Okay, yeah, because this is like that's where like it's not always the most exciting part, but it's like the biggest bang for your buck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So okay,
sure.
let's get this started here. So what role do you want to start with, or what code do you want to start with? We'll have time for a couple.
The code doesn't matter. Just the for the tank ones.
Works for me. Can you see the stream? Okay. In Discord.
Oh, in Discord? Well,
yeah.
Hold on, let me pull that up super quick.
Sure.
Did not know you could stream in Discord.
It's gonna be up like near our profile pictures. I know it's a pain with console. You're on console, yeah?
Yeah.
Discord is agonizing, like as a console user.
Up next to faces. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Watch stream. No.
Got it.
Oh no.
Wait.
Oh, there we go.
You got it? Nice. We're in. Yeah. So how many hoops did you have to jump through to figure it out?
All of the hoops. Every single one.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hopefully not rock the boat too much, and hopefully it continues to work. All right. So for gold, or like high silver, low gold, Zarya. Now I'm interested here. Is this Zarya? Do you want to start with the D.Va, or do you want to start with the Zarya?
It doesn't matter to me. But
I feel like probably D.Va, because you don't play as much Zarya. You get off of Zarya pretty fast, so I think we go D.Va.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go D.Va. So let's talk about the tank role just a little bit. So basically, the whole concept of the tank role is that like basically your job is to fulfill the fundamental role of what a tank is in real life, which is a big hunky piece of metal that hurts people. and you create space because it hurts people. When the battlefield, World War II rolls out, Normandy, D-Day, right? With the tanks rolling out, that's not historically accurate, but whatever. You know, the tank is not, people are not hiding behind the tank necessarily. It's more of the impact of having something that big and that lethal is what distracts enemies, that indirectly protects the footmen. You get what I'm saying? And that's kind of like what you're looking at here. Now, I know that's a little bit backwards considering you're playing D.Va and she's a peeler, she's got Matrix, she can protect your team. That is something you can do and you should do, but it's not even necessarily the priority. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you look at the enemy composition in red there, you could peel this Bob right here, right? This is like...
Sorry, it says I can't connect with it connected on console, so I gotta switch this around, sorry.
Sure, no worries, no worries. If you have any issues, I have a secondary option, so just let me know. Can you see now?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can. You all good? Can you hear me?
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Oopsies. I can hear you. I don't think you can hear me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, I have an idea. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah, that's better.
Okay,
That's
okay.
just on my phone, but
Okay,
that's perfect.
so you can't see stream through this, right?
Sorry?
So you can't see the Discord stream right now?
I can see that on the computer, and then I got we're good. We're set.
Okay, we're set then? Okay, we're good to go. You're pulling both things out. All right, if you have any issues, let me know because I have another option for making this work. Okay, so basically the long story short is that like you like look at the enemy composition and you're like, hey, listen, if I can get on this Ana or Kiriko, I can kill them, I can make them panic and turn around, I can take all of those things that they do to my team, Sleep Dart, Nade, Kiriko damage, Ana healing, even honestly the D.Va will probably turn around and pull that all onto over here, away from my team. The other thing you could do as well, like let's say this Ashe takes an aggressive position, if she's up here, right, you need to stop her from getting value on that position. The way what a tank functions like is a person that assaults a powerful position or assaults the enemy directly. That's how you create space. Like right now, your team cannot walk out of this choke. Why? Well, as of right now, can you see what's actually shooting them, right?
Yeah.
It's this guy, right? And this guy,
yeah.
for right now,
yeah.
right? For right now. So your job is to deal with this threat, then walk forward. And then what's going to be scary, what's going to prevent your team from walking forward safely once you deal with the bot? You were saying it.
Bastion and
right, Bastion and Ashe and D.Va and right. So then your job is to try to harass, disrupt, or threaten those threats so that then they're not harassing your team. So when we talk about space, how much damage does your Torbjorn, your soldier, do if they're stuck back here?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. They would prefer to be walking forward and maybe even taking different off angles or sight lines or whatever, or flanks. Now, are they going to do that? Maybe, maybe not. But you need to give them the opportunity to actually walk forward. That's what space is. Right. Space is the ability to get closer, to take this high ground or that flank. And that's what a D.Va does, is you can either take those positions for them, or you could distract people that would be shooting those spaces and make it difficult for them to take. For example, if my soldier goes top, but he gets shot by the Ashe, then he can't go top. But if the soldier takes top, while you're diving the Ashe, you've created space so that your soldier can safely take top. Do you kind of see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. So right here, deal with the bomb. Matrix, 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 matrix. Very nice. Good start. It was a good start. You made the right play. I mean, I think this fight's lost regardless of what you did, but honestly, like, you shut down 3 ultimates with your Matrix there. Nano, Bob, and Bastional. It's just unfortunate that they also threw D.Va bomb in there as well. That was 5 ultimates from them. 5 ultimates. So, it's not the end of the world. Okay. That's so funny. So one of the things you do as D.Va is, because like you look at their composition, you can dive Kiriko, Ana, Bastion, and Ashe, right? If they were on Sombra
Right.
Tracer Reaper, you could peel Sombra Tracer Reaper. If they're on Winston, you could kill the Winston. Ball, you could kill the Ball. Honestly, even Reinhardt isn't that great versus you. He's not bad versus you. You could do fine, but like it's not like you're. There's nothing besides like let's say a high charge Zarya that you're bad versus. So with D.Va, it's not a question of who's your target priority. It's more of a question of who's taking aggressive positions. So right now, what do you want to do? Do you want to dive this backline? Or do you want to shoot the D.Va in front line? You tell me. It's tricky, isn't it?
I would figure I'd want to put pressure on their back line.
Okay, okay. But why might that not be necessary? It's not a bad play, but you don't have to. Why? Here's a question.
I mean, I could play on the front side, and we've got the choke there.
Sure, sure. Are the Ana and Bastion doing anything?
Not yet.
Not yet. So then do you need to put threat onto them?
No.
You see what I'm saying? It's not a bad play because you might cut off the healing from the D.Va, for example, right? But you don't have to necessarily. Your job as D.Va is to try to predict who's going to do things, but not necessarily commit until they actually do things, right? So it's kind of like we were saying, who's actually doing things, I deal with you when you're doing things. Now, I don't actually think what you did there was bad. You created space, because why was my soldier allowed to walk forward this aggressively? Why was he not getting shot by Ana and Bastion?
Because they were worried with me.
Right, they were worried about you. The problem was that maybe it wasn't 100% necessary. Now, I will also say, if you are going to go for Ana Bastion, how do you do it most effectively? Because it's not just good to do the right thing. You have to do the right thing and do it well, right? So what's the problem right now?
I'm too far away from them.
Too far away. So how do you get closer to them? So how do you get closer?
I think my best play would have been to boost her up to the bridge on the left.
Yes. Yes.
Because then I'm up above them, and I'm close to them, and I really get to have my like cake and eat it too.
You sure do. And if you want to drop, you can drop, but you will be very, very soon to having your boosters again, right? That's perfect.
Right.
Perfect. So you can, like you said, you can have your cake and eat too. You can hold top, you're close, you're safe. If you want to drop to finish a kill, well, by that time you'll have your boosters again, so you can fly back out again, right? Whereas here, you're either have to fly all the way in, or basically do nothing but just distract them over here. And the problem with distracting them over here is, honestly, the best distractions are the dangerous distractions. And to be honest with you, at this range, you're not that dangerous. You're really not that dangerous. Right. I mean, you do a good job with your missiles there, but yeah. And then obviously the main problem here is then where's your escape route, really?
To the left. And
you're right. Up into the left, right? Not down into the left, right? You're like, oh man, back to the spawn room again? Like, come on, man. Yeah,
that's good to know.
Okay, so I think in theory, what you did was fine. How you did it was not fine. So you didn't utilize the high ground.
Right.
You were too far away. And your escape route was bad. So those are three little details we mark off in our brain, and we keep going. Because we don't just want you to teach you how to play deep.
One more time.
Yeah. Too far away.
One more time. My escape route was bad.
Yeah.
I was too far away.
Yeah.
And what was the third one?
You tell me. What was the optimal way of engaging? You were the one that came up with the idea, right?
Well, we said close. Oh, just like my positioning being up top there.
It's taking up top, right?
Oh,
looking for an alternate route of getting on top of them, right? So, you know, those are just little details. We don't have to don't worry too much at the end. We'll keep zooming through. At the end, we'll have a more gameplay that we've looked at, so we have a better idea of what you actually need to work at. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to be vague with what you need to practice. You need to create space, but no how, right? Right. So, okay. Now, what is your priority right now? Remember, you need to be a tank. Your team is fighting right now. So who's the priority right now? This is again a trick question.
That Bastion's really That Bastion's really dangerous. The Ashe is also really dangerous.
Right. So you got a real tricky situation, don't you?
I would like to go to the Ashe because provided I can get around the Bastion or Matrix the Bastion, my teammates should be able to duck behind cover there.
Sure, but can they duck behind cover from the Ashe?
No.
A little bit harder, right? Now, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't really care who you go for here. I think both make good arguments. So, yeah. You recognize what you needed to do. Let's just see if you did it. A little too slow, right? Now...
No, I got fed.
Right. Now, here's the thing. If you dive the Ashe up here, will you die?
No.
Why? Does she have any help?
No, she's alone.
Well, if you dive the Bastion here, will you die?
Unlikely.
Unlikely. How would you dive the Bastion here if you were to do it properly? How would you do it? Micro-wise. Using your cooldowns?
I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you would dive the Bastion?
I don't believe so.
Okay. You would go for the Ashe instead?
I mean, as the fight plays out, it probably that Bastion gives me full cover. It gives me an off angle on their team.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, the Ashe is the biggest threat to my team.
Sure.
If I go for the Ashe, that Anna could take a couple of steps back if she's paying attention and I'm still in her sight line. If I go for the Bastion, there's nobody that can get to me right away.
Sure. Now, again, I really, again, want to repeat, I don't think it matters who you go for here. I just want to make you think about, if I were to go for the Bastion, if I were to go to the Ashe, how would I do it? And I guess that's kind of the... Because we saw the previous fight, right? You kind of had the right idea, but you just didn't do it well at all. So I want you to practice thinking about how you were going to tank, right? How are you going to dive? Not just making the right decision, but doing it mechanically well with your cooldowns. And like maybe you'd fly up here with Matrix, shoot in missiles, and then hide behind cover and let your team heal you. If she drops off of high ground, perfect. Do I chase? Do I not chase? It depends, right? So, okay. Again, it's how you're doing it, not what you're doing. What's the problem here?
I just went a little too far.
Well, I mean, look, right? Look. You got you're ice skating on high ground basically here. I mean, look at this. Zoo, you know? What should you have done? Fly top, then what?
I mean, taking a look on either side, really.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, look at that, guys. You see? I mean, look at these guys. They're dead. Just drop them.
They're right there.
But you messed up. You went for high. You messed up. Now you're forced shooting the D.Va instead of the squishes.
Yeah.
It's fine. You guys win this fight now.
Yeah.
Surely? Surely.
I can't remember. I know this turned into a really good game.
What should you do here with your bomb? You launch it this way, but it actually goes past where you want it to go, and then now you're isolated. You see that?
Yeah, I meant to bounce it off that post.
Yeah. Something to keep in mind. Oh my gosh, I have never seen so many low purple targets in my life. Okay, so main takeaway right now. What you are doing by trying to look for squishies to control backline, not necessarily bad. But how you're doing it is bad. And what way is it bad? What are you messing up?
The routes that I'm getting there.
Yes, and that's mostly
on that second one.
Yeah, and the first one too, right? To an extent, right? Okay, so let's not overthink it.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
So, Soldier, Kiriko, high ground. Big problem for your team, right? Very dangerous. Ashe as well.
Yep.
So, the question is the route for you to get there. What do you think?
I might be better off not going. Maybe go window on the yellow building in the bottom left corner.
Like here? Or like
Yeah,
you mean
they
here?
gave me that space.
You mean here?
No, the top one. The top one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's a possible. It's possible. I'm a little concerned that your team isn't with you right now. So maybe you could play with your team.
I'm kind of alone there.
You could play with your team here. Try to force this D.Va to back up a little bit, then dive. I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
This isn't bad though.
No, I agree.
This isn't bad though, because you did get here at full HP.
Oh, I think I saw him get hit by that.
Yeah. Are you close to them? Yes.
No, not close enough. But I also know somebody's in that left corner behind me. Is it worth getting close to them there?
Well, okay, no, I guess, is this close enough to do decent damage? And I would say, yeah, I think this is okay. Do you have a lot of Matrix?
Okay.
Yes. Do you have a lot of HP? Yes. Do you have your boosters? Yes. Are you tanking well right now?
I would say yes.
I think so too. Nice job. And let's see how that looks down here. Now, you're going to have to fly away and live. I hope you live. But look at the blue circles. Before. Look at the blue circles. After. You see this? Before.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's creating space. In fact, their soldier dies. So what's the mistake here? Good. Matrix. Oh, you're dropping Matrix too fast. Too slow to get out. Die at 1 HP. So what's the mistake?
Yeah.
What needed to be better?
A little earlier.
Get out a little earlier, right? Don't overstay your welcome. You did a good job. You weren't going to kill anybody.
Yeah, my use of Matrix and getting out.
Yeah, a little bit quicker on the Matrix. You got a lot of it. A little bit quicker getting out, because guess what? You tanked. You did a great job. You just fumbled it back. That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is what you did was so important that you're still going to win this fight because of what you did. Nice job. I like what you're doing. I really do like what you're doing with D.Va. I think you're doing a great job. I just don't like how you're doing it.
I've watched a lot of the videos.
It shows. It shows. You're doing a good job. You're protecting your team. You're doing a great job protecting your team. And you're protecting your team because you're keeping those hit scans, right? Those supports honest. They can't play too aggressively because you're a threat. Who's the most important target for you to dive right now, as soon as you can?
That soldier's
Why?
in a pretty good spot.
That's it, right? That's it. Exactly.
He's got that high ground. That's a spot I would love to be in if I was soldier.
Sure. And that's it, right? Like, you're noticing that we're not like talking so much about like you should be diving on, you should be diving. No, it depends. Like, look at the situation. Who's playing aggressively?
Yeah.
Right? It's soldier. You go for soldier right now, please. Please. No. You know.
I think I sit on cart maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need to sit on cart right now, right? Go tank. And look what happens.
Dang.
You know, it ends up your soldier tanking for you, actually, right?
Absolutely.
That's a big problem. That's a big problem. You need to help him. Okay.
Okay.
So as soon as that fight starts, as soon as people start taking space, the enemy team starts to push, you need to be thinking, who and where do I go?
Okay.
Look at you setting up a little angle here. You're thinking about diving backline, aren't you? You remember?
I felt pretty dialed at this point. I think I was just kind of trying to hold an off angle because it worked in like the previous fight.
Yeah, looks good. Now you're going for backline. Look at you go.
Now I'm thinking backline.
Okay, so you know, here's the thing though. I think this is cute. I'm not against it. However, what's the only problem with this off angle?
I've been too far away.
It's too far away. Now that is a D.Va problem. There's a lot of times you got to be really flexible with how you position as D.Va, because you got a nice off angle here, but it's not a dangerous off angle, and you're gonna have to use your boosters to go in. And you see that they're not giving you a ton of attention, right? Now here's another thing that you have to be aware of as well. While you set up your own little off angle, check this out.
Oh yeah, this killed us for a little bit. This was,
right
she
now
held really well.
This is what you are equipped to deal with. This is perfect for you. Why?
Yeah.
You have vertical mobility, and when you fly on the soldier, very close, right? That's exactly what you want.
Right.
So this is the tricky thing with D.Va, okay? You might want to write this one down. But you only want to look for backline dives if there isn't a juicy squishy that's taking an aggressive angle. So you either need to set up dives on the backline or stop them from setting up dives on you. And generally it's the second one because it's easier. This is hard because it's too far away. So before you hard commit to setting up flanks and diving backline, instead look to see if there's anybody else that's going aggressive on you and kill them instead. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where like this D.Va is more of a peeler mindset, is because she's all very focused on stopping the enemy team from taking the aggressive positions that they want, rather than setting up her own aggression.
Okay.
Nice. Oh boy. This is the moment of truth, right? This Ashe and Soldier have to be stopped. They have to be.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, yes. Yes, that's it right there. That's it. That's huge. That's huge. Huge. Huge play right there. Just don't peek the bomb. You know, don't die to bomb. Oh, go get her. Go get her. She's scary. Go get her. Look at her. Go get her. Go get her. Go get her. She's up top. And she's dead. Nice. Good. Nice thinking. Not a perfect fight from you, but a good fight. Priority right now. Do you see it?
Yep, soldier up top.
Yeah. So as quickly as you can. I might matrix this D.Va a little bit, and then as soon as I get my boosters back. Oh, thankfully he's walking into you, so that's nice.
Side, on the flip side, that D.Va is out of range of my squishies, so I don't have to worry about her quite yet. Then, right?
That's a great point. In fact, the when you should have matrixed that D.Va, this is one of your little micro mistakes here. Check this out. Why should you have matrixed the D.Va right here?
Because that's when she was close. She's close to that Bastion.
And that's exactly what kills your Bastion. Do you see that? Now, would your Bastion have died anyway? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
But that's good to know. That's a great pickup from you right there, right? And that's it. Now, nice. Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think I'm following along with what we're doing.
Okay, so it's just as much about you paying attention to who's playing aggressive versus you as who you want to play aggressive versus, right? And then always trying to find ways to use cover, high ground, and so on to get close to people, because that's where you're one of the best tanks in the game. Right?
So some of that seems.
Go ahead.
Okay. So some of that seems, it really depends on like what their lineup is. So starting to anticipate where I'm going to find certain players, like that soldier. They're going to move quickly. They're going to try to get to the high ground. They're going to be looking to shoot down from those like real kind of positions of power. The Ashe might be a little bit farther away, but she's looking for a clean angle. Like Ashe needs a clean angle more than anything.
And that's where people talk about like this, the vague skill awareness. That's where you need to be like if we go back to here, right? Awareness would have saved you this fight, because you would have needed to be aware of who. You know what I'm saying? You should have been, your brain should have been screaming, where is this Ashe? Where is the soldier? Like, where are they? Right? If you see them like back here, then you're like, all right, well, whatever. I'm just gonna like maybe set up an angle or a flank or shoot D.Va, and maybe later in the fight dive them. But you didn't see them. So little alarm bells need to go off in your brain.
Right.
Something's happening here, right? Something's right.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. I could feel it. You know, it's like that's kind of like what you need to be thinking about. So one of the big skills that you could build is not just about setting up your own dives, getting closer to people, but also where are they? Ask yourself that question. Where are they? Where are they?
Right.
Where are they? That is one of the most important skills that you could build in D.Va ever. But going back to your original goals with the game, that's one of the best skills you can build, period, for Overwatch.
Yeah, where they are and where you're.
So right now,
Okay.
don't need to do anything. Don't need to do anything crazy, unless you knew this. You had no idea that was happening. I promise you.
No.
And you could have flown
At
here,
all.
right? You could have flown here. You would not have killed this guy, but you would have saved your soldier's life. Because right now, what else is there to do right now from you?
Nothing yet. I'm
Right.
kind of.
Right? Now, if there's an Ash
Waiting,
over here,
Yeah.
you're going to have to kind of pick and choose. Remember the Ash Bastion? The Ash and the Bastion over here? You had to kind of choose. As D.Va, those are the hard parts, but that's also the part where it's like, it's not that big of a deal. You just pick one and roll with it. But right now, you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Where is that soldier? Where is that Ash?
Right. Okay.
Again, I like. Okay, so here's what you're doing. You're setting up your own off angles on like their tank line, their support line, and these are actually like really good. Like these are like really fun. Like you're going to cause a nice distraction. It's got really good cover. I really like this stuff. But the funny thing is the enemy team is like constantly flanking you and it's giving you free value if you're aware of them. This, what you're doing right now, would be how you would play. When would what you when would this be good? When would this be good? What would how would the enemy team be positioned?
If they're kind of all grouped up on main.
Yes, that's it. If this Ash and Soldier are here and you're like, all right, well, I can't dive them, they're just standing in their own backline. So you set up your off angle, right? That's perfect.
It's hard to get to those spots though if they're all playing main.
Well,
or how would I look to get to that spot if they're all playing main?
Okay, great question. So let's pretend that your soldier's alive, just for the sake of the argument, because if they were all playing main, your soldier wouldn't have died. Okay. So you fly right here. So then what does the Kiriko, Ana, Ash, Soldier, D.Va all do once you take this off angle here? They push you, right? Is that what you're referring to? Hard to get to?
No. I'm saying so you said you love the off angle if they're playing kind of more on main, standing there firing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of they're kind of defending in layers and they're kind of on that main, right? That's where you were saying taking that little off angle in the stairs would be beneficial. Okay. So I've found that it's much harder to get to those spots if they're all kind of grouped up that way. So how could I get there?
I want to understand what you mean by harder to get there. Is in you take more damage while you're flying there?
Yeah, right. Like I can't just fly directly there, can I?
You can. You just have to use your matrix. So what you would do is you would be like, I'm gonna hug this wall here, right? Shoot the D.Va.
Okay.
Then fly in with matrix and either fly to the stairs or fly up top here.
Okay.
And then if they give you attention, right? You have a Bastion, Moira, Brig, Soldier, all shooting them while they're turning around and looking at you.
Okay.
And because
so it's okay if they
go ahead.
They have to turn there because my team is with me.
Exactly.
So my team being with me is what enables me to do that.
Exactly. Because you're not really playing for yourself. And as long as you can survive here, then you should be good to go. And if you have matrix, HP, cover, you should survive here for a long time. And worst case scenario, you survive long enough to get your boosters back, you fly right back to your team. And you get healing again. Right? So you set up your own off angle or you deny the enemy off angles. If they were all grouped up, you set up your own off angle. That's how D.Va works. But always try to fly to an angle that has cover and preferably is somewhat close / has high ground. Because if you flew to let's say, here, what are you going to do from here? Besides bleed HP. It was kind of like the quandary you had with this angle here, where it was just it just didn't feel particularly useful. right? And that's where D.Va struggles the
Right.
most, is on points where you don't have a way to get close to them. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think you're okay. I would keep running. Oh my gosh,
So this is something that I've huh?
Go
Sorry,
ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this is kind of a quandary I've found myself in this game is, generally speaking, situational, is it better to run or to hide if you're kind of stuck as that last person?
I like running if you have the mobility for it.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think D.Va, you should be able to run and get out. Also, sometimes it's okay to just die in card as well. Just die quickly, you know.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So again, here I know you're flustered because you're like, oh, I just barely got out with my life. But again, awareness, right? I don't know where Soldier and Ash are again, and I'm scared. And sure enough, you see this, right? Number one, you have an Ana who's close, who you could kill. Number two, you have an Ash who's right here, who's very scary. And number three, you have a Soldier Kiriko here. So as long as we pick one of those targets, I'm okay. Good. And you notice how this fight is going even, right? They're getting value out of their flanks. You're getting value out of shutting down their flanks. Let's get some Matrix on this Brig. Oh,
Yeah.
slow. You see? Messy, nasty, ugly fight. But winnable, right?
Yeah.
The fact you guys actually might win this fight, so oh no. That's okay. That's okay. I think you played this fight okay. Wait.
We will end up as we take this to
Wait.
overtime.
Wait. Oh no! Oh no. That's okay, you guys still get it. Nice job.
Those Annas will get you sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Reaper, Ashe. People that can be playing aggressive, both of them. Awareness, right? You see it?
Oh no.
You know?
That's not good.
Because you're on D.Va here, but there's a Kiriko and a Reaper right next to you. You need to stop this Reaper. Okay, your Bastion handles the Reaper. Good. Fine. Still winnable. I think you guys are actually up here. I don't know if you knew that yet. Yeah. I think you misjudged it. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah.
You can walk forward. It keeps happening. You notice this? Like, we've lost a lot of fights to just stuff that happened off to the side that you didn't know was happening.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is here is I don't necessarily mind chasing the Reaper when he has no Wraith, but it's also probably the least important time to focus on Reaper is when he's out, right? It's not as much of a threat. Good?
Okay.
Okay. I mean, it's fine to chase the Reaper without Wraith. I'm just saying, it's funny that you only give him attention when he's on your screen, but you're not thinking ahead of time, where is this guy, right? That's, I think, one of your biggest issues.
No. I agree.
Right. Good. Case in point, right?
What do you mean there?
There's a Reaper on your back line, Death Blossoming. That's what I mean there. And you had absolutely no idea where he was.
Okay.
Right?
None. Yeah.
Nice. Still winnable. Uh-oh. That's not a good... No way! Matrix.
Yeah.
Oh, just a little too slow. So I will say a couple times having awareness of where those threats are, you can kind of do a better job of matrixing your team when they're right there. We've talked a lot about like your own proactivity, you shutting down the enemy team, but there is value out of like example like this right here, where you see this is your time to matrix, right? Look at his HP, look how close he is. He's gonna die most likely, but if you can let him stay a little bit longer, this D.Va dies a lot faster, right? And you had the matrix for it. Oh, disaster. Okay, so let's stop there with D.Va. And let's move on to some of our other heroes. D.Va, what are the specific habits that you need to practice with D.Va?
The biggest thing is tracking threats.
Tracking threats. Targets who take angles or aggro positions to threaten your team so that you can dive or deny them that space. If no threats taking space or angles, all clumped, then what?
Look for those little off angles.
Yeah, look for angle or dive yourself. Cover, matrix, and HP all matter. Okay. What else did we talk about? When you were looking for your dives, sorry.
How to get... Huh?
Go ahead.
Sorry?
No, go ahead.
We talked about kind of getting value out of distance, especially if I am kind of on a back line.
When you do dive, try to manage high ground pathing to close the distance as much as possible, right? A lot more of effective distraction because you're dangerous distraction. Okay. Anything else? Those are the big three for sure.
No, I think that gives me a lot of good stuff to work on.
I think that's...
What did you think mechanically? I sometimes think I'm not great mechanically, and other times I feel fine.
It was good enough. The thing with the mechanics though is like, especially with like a hero like D.Va, there isn't like any specific set thing that you need to practice. You just need to play the game more. Do your unranked deathmatch, you know, like we talked about earlier, and just chill.
Yeah.
You know, there isn't any, I would say it wasn't like exactly a strength, but I don't think it's really much of a concern. Just play. You'll be fine.
Oh yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. Next, do you want to move on to DPS? Or do you want to look at some Zarya?
I'd love to look at a little... Actually, do you mind if we bounce around? Sometimes it's a little easier to stay fresh that way.
Yeah, sure. We can do some DPS if you want.
Yeah, DPS would be perfect then. Yeah.
Okay. First code work for you?
Yeah, I don't really care.
Okay. Soldier?
Yeah.
I think you can... Wait. Reaper, Soldier. How much Soldier do you play here? Soldier, Reaper,
depending
Soldier.
on what my teammates were gonna run.
Yeah. Do you want to stick with the Soldier?
Bastion in there.
Or do you have a specific hero you wanted to look at?
No, not specific to the hero. More specific to just like the role.
Okay. The differences between the DPS are essentially like the range and the mobility that they have, right? Those are like the two things that I'm always talking about, right? So like Soldier takes deeper angles, longer angles. Reaper takes tighter angles, shorter angles, because he doesn't have the mobility and range that Soldier does, right? So if you look at a hero like Reaper in this circumstance, how a Reaper positions is leagues different, but it's the same thing as D.Va, where it's like, what pressure can I do, right? So I'm like, okay, I TP here, I get on top of the Ana, but what's the only problem with this position? If you fail this kill or this Ana doesn't die, how do you get out? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're stuck. So it's not a bad flank, it's just a high risk flank, right? So what was another option? Is there another flank or angle that you can take here that's short sightline?
I'll
give you this, will probably be easier to see.
Yeah, thanks. So I've got teammates kind of on both sides here. that gives me more of an out.
Maybe not even more of an out, just a different option.
Maybe to more towards the right of the Ana. I can't tell exactly where.
So like over
I'm kind
here?
of lost on this one, to be honest.
Over here?
Yeah.
Sure. What does this give you?
It gives me cover right away.
Cover. There's also mega health back in here as well.
Yeah.
Would this be a troll here to take this trade here?
No.
No, it's an option too, right? Because again, look how close you are, right? It's a Symmetra, kind of annoying, but it's an option. It's an option.
Yeah.
Mega behind you, love it. See, this is kind of what you want, right? Where it feels weird, but she had to walk in towards you, and then you can still wraith out to your supports, right? It's good.
Yeah. I enjoy playing Reaper because I feel like I get better playing D.Va by playing Reaper.
Yeah, short sightlines, right? Short little angles. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You use your TP to get close to people. Case in point, right? Perfect.
Yeah.
D.Va has fly, Reaper has TP. The difference between D.Va and Reaper is Reaper has his mobility on longer cooldown, so it's a little bit harder, right? Now, this is a bad TP, right? You set up an angle, but you set up an angle without really looking at where the enemy team is, and so, you know, you see the problem here, right?
Yeah.
You've TP'd to an angle where you're a
Right,
million miles away, right? And it's also when your team is pushing, right? Yeah, it's like it's purely ornamental. I mean, it did nothing.
Right.
Now the irony here, though, is you're like, oh, I gotta go break turrets, but really you probably should just go right back to here now because the fight's gonna be happening here, and this is a great angle for you to hold. Nice, nice, good, right? Use TP, close the distance. I'd probably prioritize Junkrat there, just because he's I don't know if you saw him, but like that kind of leans into our D.Va thing, right? Where it's like, okay, where are they? Where are these squishies that I can be shooting with my guns, right? So you go for Orisa, who's not a terrible target to shoot, but certainly isn't the best. Meanwhile, Junkrat's like, okay, you know, I guess I'm just gonna shoot him in the face.
Yeah.
That Junk could have died, you could have lived, right?
Yeah.
Right. What on earth?
You call it?
What is she doing? What is she doing? All right, well, that was that. Oh, yeah, she just presents herself, so goodbye.
Yeah.
Winston Zen? Do you need to TP to get close? No? Because they're just right there. Right?
Yeah.
So if you don't need to use your TP to get close, don't use your TP to get close. Just shoot. You could Death Blossom this if you want.
Yep.
Yeah. Woo! Okay. Satisfying, isn't it? That was nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Orisa's...
Sure. Got the little notification for that one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, wait, you got the achievement or whatever.
Yeah,
Nice. Okay. Now this is where things get kind of hairy, right? Because what's the problem about this position right now? Not your positioning, but the enemy team's position. What's hard?
They've got basically 3 sides of this choke controlled.
And don't overthink it. You play short hero shotgun. They far away.
And they're far away.
Right. So you got to think a little bit like a caveman for this hero to work. So obviously the big thing here is that your team is on cart. We don't really want to be fighting right now, but you're going to have to be a little bit creative with your TP because otherwise you're not going to be able to get close to people. Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you go soldier. I mean, that's also not a bad play either. You're like, well, I can't get close to people anymore. The map has opened up, so you go to a more ranged hero, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, I
Now-
try to do that with on DPS as I
Right.
stick around a little bit.
Right. Now that's fine if that's what you enjoy. I think that there is something to be said for practicing and adapting. Like, could Reaper have worked in this scenario? Yes. You would have needed to been creative, but you could have done it. And I think if you really want to get better at a DPS hero, you need to push the limits with like playing two different sides of it. Reaper can
Okay.
flank. Reaper also doesn't have to flank. If you're in open space, Reaper probably needs to take little angles. If you're in like at short sightline, you probably don't need to flank as much. So here, Soldier's fine, but you could have also played Reaper and played Reaper better, and that would have been fine too. This fight's pretty much lost. I like that what you're doing with your positioning though. This is good. I like the patience.
Yeah.
This
And
is
that's-
smart. Yep, do it. I knew it. Yes, 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 yes. This is great. This is great. Don't get too close, but this is great. Look at this. Total chaos.
Yeah.
They had a massive Arisal, and they still might actually lose this. Good, good. Play like a rat. Between you and Sombra, they're gonna really, really hate flanks. Good. This is
Yeah,
this is great.
fun. We had,
I love
we had,
this.
Like, good like team chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah, this is brilliant right here. Now be careful of the junk. Kill this Bastion. Go, go, go. Good. I wouldn't run away immediately just because they look at you. If you think, like, because you got to look at who's shooting at you. Watch this. I think now she has Valk, which is kind of scary, but I think you're okay. I think you're okay. Because you could hold that angle a little bit longer, you know. He's gonna Valk.
Yeah.
Run, 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 run. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. Now peek out and shoot again. Maybe Vice at this? Is your team here? Your team's here. Let's go.
Yeah, I think I do. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's a fight winner. You can smell it, you know? No, don't get too
Yeah,
close. Don't get too
I
close. Don't
put
get too
that
close.
angle for so long.
Yeah. But you ended up
Should
winning.
okay, should I stay a couple of steps out there?
Like the distance? Yeah. Like
Yeah,
here?
did I just get a little too?
You got a little bit
overzealous?
too greedy. Yeah, just don't walk in, you know? Just play your range and shoot, basically.
Alright.
You would only want to get this close to like sneak up on a Zen or a Widow or something like that, you know?
Okay.
But yeah, I think honestly you carry this. The angle is really good. Like this, for example, way too close, way too close. I know you're like but just
Right.
where should you be? Where should you be?
Probably stand away from my team just a sec and then look to kind of maybe go left or go right depending on
Sure.
how the fight starts to shape out.
Here. Also here. Also
Okay.
even here, right? There's options. You got legs, right? Just be careful about running into junk bash.
Yeah.
You know, not the greatest.
Yeah.
Even this, too close, right? You notice that the junk rat mine hits you, right? You notice that you end up having to run away from Bastion.
Right.
That's the kind of thing you just want to keep a little bit more distance.
Okay.
Good. Run, run, run. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's a good grenade. But yeah, this is good. Now Bastion is kind of more on the Reaper spectrum, right?
Yeah.
But somewhere in between. He really lacks mobility. But he makes up for it with the punch, right? Packs quite a punch.
Right.
And he's
Yeah,
a
and
little
I
bit
try
more
to switch to
flexible.
him, like sometimes the late in rounds.
Sure. He's actually quite flexible as well with his range. I mean, he's not a sniper, but he does pretty good at mid-ranges. He does okay at mid-ranges. I would also be using my grenade, like, essentially on any squishy that I see, even tanks. The blast radius is huge now. It detonates super quick. It's like the Bastion grenade is a little bit tricky to land, but it is unbelievably strong right now. It is unbelievably strong.
Okay.
So use it. Yep. Again, like right there, just stick them. Stick them right there. And it's like an animation cancel too. It launches out super fast.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, even if you miss it, I think it does. Shoot, I think it might, even if you miss it, if they get hit by the splash, I still think it does like 90 damage or something stupid. Like it is crazy. No, it does. Okay. It does. Oh, okay, no, it's not. It could do up to 100 damage on splash, and it still hits for like 50 damage. So even if you miss it, it still hits like a truck. I know it's like overtime. I guess I can't really blame you too much because your Ryan's not there yet, but like you just don't want to be on cart. Like the thing is as quickly as you can, get off of cart. Take a little angle here, right? Are you gonna hard flank as Bastion? Probably not, but you know, just here, you know, take a different angle, take a different sightline.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this. Yeah, this is just we got a little bit stuck in cart and you were also down one. Let's take a look at this here. Any questions so far with the DPS stuff?
No, I don't think so.
It's mostly. Go ahead.
So actually,
Go ahead.
that's a really good point when you were saying like to stay a little further away from cart with Bastion. You know, sometimes I'm not even flanking with him, but I feel like unless I'm like really like near my team or have like a really good kind of side angle, I end up in those like 1v1s with the junk or whomever else is there, and they just get to blast me to bits.
Yeah, yeah. You have to be really careful about like where you position as Bastion, because when the stars align, you can kill anybody. When the stars don't align, anybody can kill you. So I think it's about playing cover, tracking the enemy composition. Like I look at the enemy composition right now. Why on earth would you want to get close to Junkrat as a Bastion? Right? But at the same time, you can absolutely butcher anybody else. Right. So I think you don't want to play like a sniper, but also don't get too close, you know. Really spam that nade. Like I see a hunk of blue. Oh my gosh. Easy nade.
Just send it.
You're too slow on it. You're too slow on it. You see, even there, like that blast the Symmetra up in the air does a good chunk of damage, you know? And also, when you see this here, don't wait for the tank to whip out your turret form here. These guys are dead if you're turret form right now. They are cooked. Use it right now. I appreciate the tracking there, but just kill him. Just kill him.
Okay.
Give her the fist. Nice. Whoa, look at your Symmetra's HP. Yo. She almost died there. That's crazy. Okay, nice. It's fine. Again, get that nade out earlier. So like here, just throw it, you know? Because it's gonna help you finish kills. Because by the time you throw it, you've disengaged. You've backed up.
Right.
Okay, this is.
I knew that they had somebody on our backline there, and I felt like I had to, if I could put pressure on their backline, they couldn't follow up.
Yeah. And I think your turret there was kind of trying to zone them to keep them back off. That was fine. This is pretty funny. Check this out.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no.
Oh yes. I can't do it, man. I can't do it, man. This is unreal. She just like walks right through the middle of the enemy backline. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah. Anyway, so that is unbelievable, man. That is she's set back Mercy rights by like 50 years with that one play. Oh my gosh. Again, right click right there, or not right click, sorry. Your grenade, right? Use it. I mean, I see a hunk of blue, like it is so much damage, you know. I also don't know if I would have walked forward that aggressively, like that late, you know. Like look at how quickly it was to blow you up, right? Even with your stat, bam, 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 right? So just be careful. I might have waited for them to turn the corner and then use it at a little bit of range here. You see this? Just a little bit more distance, but yeah. Anyway, spam that nade.
Alright.
See, this is kind of like the range you want to play versus these guys. So what should you do right now?
I mean, that's all of their team, and I don't see I mean, obviously not on the stream, but I don't know how close my team is, so I should probably just take a couple steps back.
I agree. That's the most important decision here. Don't stagger. Maybe throw out a grenade, a couple of shots, but don't do anything crazy. Let's say that you're brain dead and you want to take this fight, okay? Then how would you take this fight mechanically? What cooldowns, what skills, who would you shoot for, all that kind of thing?
I should immediately blast the Junkrat.
Right. Immediately grenade into turret form. Right, exactly. So let's see what you do.
Yeah.
Are you going to reset? Or are you going to be brain dead and get the kill on Junkrat? Or are you going to be double brain dead and shoot the Marissa? No, use the grenade. Okay, at least you use the turret farm, but use the grenade. It even puts them. It even puts them in the air, which moves when they're in the air. They move a little slower, so like it makes them really easy. It makes them easier to track actually when they're blasted in the air. Cool. So it's like every little detail, right? I mean, I get why you dropped because you're like, oh, maybe we can win, but it was still stupid.
Yeah.
All right, let's see this ultimate. I want at least a 5K, maybe a 6K or 7K. It was technically possible back in the day. You could damage yourself with your own ultimate, but get a 6K, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't know
that. Good try. No! No! Okay, here we go. Ah, you rushed it. You rushed it.
I think
you rushed it.
Yeah,
you rushed it. Because wait, let me actually. I had the numbers pulled up a second ago. The ultimate. I mean this. I mean, okay. Oh my! No way. Wait a second. I might have been wrong with Bastion ultimate. Okay, true story. Do you know how much damage this center ring does? You'll never guess.
No idea.
550 damage.
Jeez.
I had no idea. I thought it was like 250. It's the inner ring, like out here that does 250, like, you know, like right here. But this right here, 550 damage. So what I'm saying is, you know, aim. Because like even if this fight's lost, you could get a kill or two, you know, and like maybe like you guys can recontest here. Play cover, play cover, play cover. Your supports aren't there yet, so you need to be really careful. What was she shield?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What is going on? What is she shielding? Did you see that symbol? Maybe it was the fat finger. Maybe she meant to go a little further. I just don't even know anymore, man. I don't even know. Good nade, by the way. Forced Valk. Your Simwall is a trillion times better. There's your turret. Little blind, but it's alright. Nice. Yeah, nice job. I mean, everything's great when you actually, you know, use your nade, so. Use it.
Yeah.
Use a grenade. Use it. Use it. Yeah, see? You use it, stuff happens, but you're so slow. Yeah. Nice! Another one! Carnage!
I was doing the same thing with like D.Va with the like DMing a little late sometimes and stuff.
Yeah.
Is it just repetition?
Yeah, it's just repetition. And I would say for like the Bastion stuff specifically, with D.Va you got a lot of crap to think about. With Bastion it's like we haven't had talked with as much, so I would just say just use it more often. Use it on squishies more often. So I basically think about it more is what I'm saying. You know, practice, but also you can speed up the quality of the practice by like actually thinking about it a little bit. So.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, I like you checking the flank there. I mean, I generally don't like you using this turret like this because she hasn't really pushed, but I guess if she's just standing out in the open, it's alright, you know? I guess it's alright. But she's still gonna die, I think. Again, there's your nade. Brilliant, you know? You could probably ult this, honestly, on the corner. Just duck behind here. Use it.
Alright.
Again, I love the painful console 180s and then back to here. You know, your thumb, you break. So it's so painful, but you know what? Good on you. It's good stuff. Good nade. I would definitely be using. Yeah, see, there's your pick console 180 paying off, right? Huge. You snap. That Junkrat tries to be sneaky. No way.
Well,
Nice.
we did the same thing to them the last game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's important, right? Flanks matter. So you need to be aware of that, right?
Yeah.
You still could use this ult, honestly. Like, you're only up 1. I basically wouldn't sit on a Bastion ult for too long if there's a squishy that you can go for.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as the fight is losable or winnable, use it. Thank you for using your grenade. I wouldn't have mattered it.
Yeah.
It also would have been okay to turret that too, just to be safe. You know the armor heal with turret, right?
Okay. No.
Really? It's new. When you pop your turret form, like right now, for example, you heal 50 armor over like 2 seconds to yourself. So your HP would be 281, but not just 281, but it'd be 281 of, you'd have 50 extra HP of armor, which is even better than normal HP.
Okay. Stupid question.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me how like the orange works versus the blue versus the green? What all of those mean?
Sure.
I've been trying to figure that out for so long.
Sure. This is going to be easier if I explain it here.
Okay. Sounds good.
So HP is HP, right? That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get a good burst hero here. This is a good one here. So I have 200 HP. Not that complicated, right? Tracer.
Yep.
Headshot. Dead. Now I changed that to a hero with shields, which is the blue, right? I'm gonna melee this guy. See the blue? Watch the blue regenerate. You see that?
Yeah.
Blue
that's
regenerates.
Like Zarya works
Right.
that way.
Blue regenerates
Okay.
if he doesn't take damage for a period of time. It's not just the support passive which heals him, but it's also his shields regenerate over time. Symmetra, Zarya. Now there's the big one that has this too, which was one of the biggest changes of Overwatch 2. Was this hero also has blue. See this? See that regenerate back at the top? I don't know if you can see that, right?
It recharges.
So there it recharges, right? So there, right there, it starts to recharge. Very, very, very important, okay? Now that he does not get ult charge for that, right? He does not get ult charge for healing that back. So that's important to know.
Okay.
Now there's other type of armor as well. One of those is I'm actually gonna go pick the hero myself. There's only a few instances of this, but it's worth pointing out. Let's get a good one here. Doomfist. It's called temporary HP. Watch my HP. You see that? You see it slowly decaying?
Yeah, I think Queen does that too. And
Queen and Wrecking Ball with his adaptive shields. He gets a certain number of shields depending on who's around him. But it decays after a period of time.
So
Check
that's
it.
how like
And now it's
that's
gone.
how like
no.
the Lucio's ultimate works
Exactly.
or anything like that, right?
Exactly.
So what is that green one? What does that green one mean though?
Green one means that it's not permanent, it's temporary. It's going to go away.
So it works the same. It works the same way as like the blue, but it goes away. Is that kind of all the green means?
It doesn't. No, blue is HP that will regenerate itself. Green is HP that is only temporary, but it's going to go away.
But
right?
it's like
now some of them decay like
So
Lucio's. Some of them just disappear like Wrecking Balls or Junker Queen Shout. Like Junker Queen Shout, watch this. It's temporary, but it doesn't decay. Watch. 450, 450, 450, 450, 450, 450, 450, 450, and it's gone. You see that? It's temporary. All
so
right?
in that time period, it doesn't work like the orange or like the blue where it regenerates. It's just added HP.
It's just extra HP. It doesn't function any different. The only detail that you need to be aware of that it's actually really not even that important is that temporary HP, the green, gives you a little bit less ult charge. So if you were to shoot me, if you were to shoot me with a green HP or to shoot sound barrier off of somebody, it doesn't give you full ult charge. Doesn't really matter that much, but I guess it's worth knowing. I guess it doesn't really affect too much. Now, the only other type of HP that you wanted to talk about is armor. Okay, let's actually go back to Hanzo here.
Yeah.
Armor reduces all damage by 30%. If you shoot a bullet at me that does 10 damage, it does 7 damage. If I shoot a Hanzo shot that does 125, now that's going to be doing 87.5 damage, basically. Around 90 damage instead of 125 damage, okay? So basically, you're just reducing the amount of damage that you do when you have armor. Now, as the armor expires, it's going to reduce it. So I will shoot this ball. Wait till my shields regenerate. Notice that it didn't hit the orange, so it does full damage. You see that? It does full damage. Full damage.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
as soon as it hits the orange,
But then once
reduction,
it hits
it does a little bit less damage. And then now,
Gotcha.
full damage again. Now watch his HP regenerate. Predict what's
Okay.
going to happen. Is the armor going to regenerate?
It's gonna be. It'll be blue that regenerates.
You see?
Yeah.
There it is, right? So
Cool.
he doesn't get the armor back until he grabs a health pack or, gets healed. Does that make sense?
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Completely.
So armor is just basically, it's extra strong HP in terms of it reduces the amount of damage that you take. So tanks with more armor, Reinhardt, a little bit of Winston, D.Va, they don't just have a lot of HP, they have a lot of armor. That's what makes D.Va so tanky. She
Yeah.
has a butt ton of armor. So she's actually takes a lot of reduced damage from normal sources. For example, like a Brig with Rally, right? She gives everybody around her green health, but she gives herself extra armor. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
So that's why Brig
Yeah,
is a little bit tankier. She only has 200 HP, but 50 of that is armor. So she gets a little bit of extra damage reduction. And so the reason why that's important is, for example, a Hanzo does, what, 225 damage? Something like that, I think, on his headshots now. It used to be 250, but it's not anymore. But if I headshot a 200 HP Brig, it's just enough. Now wait a second. I don't feel like that should headshot in one shot. Let me do the math really fast here. So that was not the result I was expecting.
That's not the result you were expecting.
Go back. That was not what I was looking for. Okay, so 125 damage. Where's the headshot multiplier? I'm not seeing it on Overwatch. Can headshot. Okay, well, I'm looking here. Now, there's a damage. Okay, let's put it this way: if I body shot a Brig, do you see that she still has more HP than she should? So a body shotted Brig should have less than half health. She doesn't. She has more than half health, right? That's the effects of the armor coming in. So I'm messing up a multiplier somewhere, but yes, basically TLDR, that's kind of what we're looking at.
Get the idea there.
Anyway, and the reason why that's important, going back to your Bastion point, is the fact that it's not just HP, it's also a little bit of extra tanky HP. It's HP that actually reduces the damage that you take. So it's super HP. Now, armor's not as strong as it was in Overwatch 1 at points in time. Back in Overwatch 1, armor was calculated through instances of damage. So stuff like Pharah rockets would not be really affected by armor, but soldier damage would. But basically, that's not the case anymore. So armor is pretty consistent. There you go. And I mean, honestly, like we can stop here, and if you want to take 20 minutes to look at your Zarya, we could do that if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I kind of have seems like I kind of have the right idea with this. It's just getting a little quicker, a little better at.
Yeah, taking angles with a little more distance. Use your mobility and range. I think you did a good job taking your mobility, but your range, you got sometimes too close. Reaper.
Yeah.
TP helps set up angles, but overall goal is getting close with cover. TP is if the enemy is too far away or the targets we want aren't on the front line. Because Reaper can shoot tanks. He's pretty good at it, but if you wanted to go for a backline assassination, you're going to need to use your TP to get close to people. The problem with Reaper is using your TP and still getting out of jail and still getting out safely. And then Bastion, use the nade, use the ult. GG's. That's all.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't overcomplicate that one.
Yeah. We don't have to overcomplicate. I mean, definitely talk about the range. He's like somewhere in between, I guess. But I think
I heard in one of the videos you said like out of mech you try to use them at like castity range.
Yeah. A little bit more of a mid-range kind of a thing, yeah. Because he is pretty squishy.
Yeah.
Now there's obvious exceptions to that rule. Obviously, like if you're playing versus a Hanzo, it's kind of messy, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He develops a lot more close
this
range
is, like...
capabilities with the turret form. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, so like sometimes like I kind of try to play DPS situationally off of the map or kind of what the enemy team's doing that's giving us fits. So like I've found he can be kind of useful for like a Pharah or Mercy or Pharmacy even, or like kind of some stuff like that. If we're just really struggling to get those kills, just wait until somebody does something silly, and then
just turret.
Is that kind of a acceptable use for
works for me? Works for me. Yeah, works for me. Your turret doesn't necessarily need to get kills, but it does need to be used at a good time to force at least a lot of cooldowns. Like if you use turret and there's the Kiriko Suzes and the Orisa uses Fortify and Javelin spin to try and not die, that's a good trade. That's a good trade.
Alright.
Okay, Zarya. Let's see what we got.
I think alright, sounds good. I think this was a tough game, but that doesn't mean not good stuff in it.
There's a very careful balance with Zarya where like you need to help people do things aggressively, because like if I look at this Sombra here, I'm like, yay, I got a bubble, thank you, right? But it doesn't help her that much, and it's not going to feed you that much charge. But the irony here is if we give yourselves a little bit of context with what's happening right here, watch really carefully. What could you do with this bubble?
I could really use that bubble.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing with Zarya. Like, you look at the enemy composition, if there's like a ball, Tracer, Sombra, they're all diving your backline over and over again. That's when you kind of want to be peeling a lot, you know? Because you'll get charge out of it, and your team really needs the bubble. But I agree with you here. I think you need the bubble. I think you need the bubble to keep yourself alive so that you can get charge, so that you can murder this Roadhog and you can murder this Bastion. That's what I'm saying. So this would be a great time to bubble, because why? What's happening?
I'm getting pressured heavily.
Yeah, you're not just using a bubble like over in your spawn. Stuff is happening. You are damaging, your team is damaging, they're damaging you. Use a bubble. It's not that deep with Zarya. It's hard to do in the heat of a moment, but Zarya bubbles are absurdly easy to use. You just have to understand the concept and practice it over and over and over again. The bubble actually on Sombra is good in theory and good in timing, right? It's just not necessary. Like, was this a good time to use a bubble on a target? Yes. She's fighting. Perfect. Just not. I think you could have gotten more out of it. That's all.
Okay.
And see, like, look at that. You pop your bubble, instantly 40 charge, right? Like, it was getting some value here. Yeah. I just wish you had two. Good use of cover. I don't like that life grip. That bubble, I assume you were going to be pushing on the Bastion with before you got life gripped, I assume. So, that's fine.
What was that? You cut out for a second.
No, it's fine. I said you pop bubble here and you got life grip because your life weaver is respectfully an idiot. But I assume that's because you were going to be pushing the Bastion with it. Yes. Is that the case? You were pushing.
I would have to see it again.
Okay. Let's look, because I'm curious. Right here. I assume you were going for Bastion here. Or...
I was trying to put some pressure on that Hog and that Bastion, because I do have the bubble, so I can kind of take some.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it being damaged there helps me, and it takes away from them damaging my team.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you got the right mindset for it. Yep, exactly. The only thing I would say is like screw the Roadhog a little bit. Like I think like the Roadhog's fine because it's free damage, but if they're both here, get this boy. You know what I'm saying? The coincidentally named Big Beam Boy. Yeah. You know, get this guy. You know, so.
Yeah.
And then with this bubble here, again, get something out of it, right? Yeah, I think you played this fight okay-ish, but I needed more.
I think I end up.
Go ahead.
Oh, I think I end up on Rhine consistently.
I want to see Zarya though. Do you know if you have any Zarya codes?
I don't know. A little bit. No, I might not have any good ones.
Okay. You know what we can do though? Watch this. We'll go back to your Dorado. Because we had a little bit of Dorado, right? The first fight, I think you were in Zarya.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we can look a lot at your Zarya from here. So big thing is just like look at the situation, decide like get stuff done with your bubbles, shoot people with your bubbles, play cover so that you don't get your bubbles forced just because you're standing out in the open. That's a very common like mid-low rank mistake. It's just, oh, I gotta use my bubble because my positioning sucked, right?
Yeah.
And like this bubble, for example, is just really stupid. Right here, why are you bubbling here, right? You're standing on a corner. Are you shooting anybody? No.
Yeah.
So just
No.
shoot. Either walk forward out in the open like an idiot and bubble, because at least you're going to do some damage, or just sit here and save it and wait for them to push you, or bubble your Mercy out of trouble.
And you could probably use it as the Mercy.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not really you have to like, this is something that like coincidentally like A10 is always talking about, is like earn your bubbles, like get something out of the bubble, like you were saying earlier. This is just bad. I think this is okay. Like, you cleanse nade, you cleanse sleep, they're heavily shooting you. The only reason that you're losing this fight is because you're still down one and there's a Bastion on the flank. I bet you didn't know that.
Oh, and I have no idea.
Yeah. It's alright. The bubble was good, though. And I like the focus on the Ana there. Yeah, okay. Let's see. We get a recontest?
Yeah.
By the way, little micro detail, you get move faster, right-clicking and jumping. Do you know that tech?
Those L2 jumps or whatever.
Sorry. The secondary fire.
Yep.
So whenever you're coming back from a spawn, if you're confident you can get healed, I would be doing it. You do move faster. All right.
Okay.
I want a bubble on Ana, or I want you to run down this D.Va's throat until she starts to hard pressure you, then use your bubble. Let's see. Moment of truth. Notice that you have not needed to bubble yet, right?
Yeah.
There's not really been any threat here. Now, I see people on your left. Now you bubble, but the irony here is that you're not under any threat, and then you choose to bubble. And that's going to show in your charge. Look at your charge, right? Only 20 charge. Not 25, not 30, 35, or 40. You got 20. Not a good bubble.
Yeah.
Be better to have 2 bubbles here. What could you do with 2 bubbles here?
I could push that Kiriko on
You
really
could
aggressive.
run over this entire... I mean, look at this. Look at these. This is like the gang of misfits. They're all like half HP squishies, right? Run it down their throats. Don't, maybe play cover, but go. This is the bubble time.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, oh, bubble, back up. No. Bubble, walk. But you can't now. You messed up your first bubble. It's over.
Right.
Again, bubble, but doing nothing with it, right? And that's it. No wonder you saw the D.Va, right? Wait, you play one more fight. Okay, I'm excited.
I can't imagine this one goes a whole lot better, but I think that's something too that is
I'm sorry. Okay, pause 1 second. Pause 1 second.
Yeah.
The safest hammering dwarf ever. I kind of know why you bubbled, because you heard a lot of crap going on, so you assumed he was going to need it, but I'm sorry, that was just too funny. You were saying something.
Fair enough. No, like, shoot, I can't remember. It's all good.
Okay, I am so sorry. That was just too funny.
No, we're
we were talking about basically bubbling to do something, right? Walking forward.
Not anticipating, not using bubbles on yourself if you anticipate damage.
Right. Now, there are exceptions to that rule, right? If I see Pharah spam coming right at me, or if I see that Bastion pop short form, or if I see Ana whip out Sleep Dart, right? Those are things that you're probably going to want to try to anticipate. But those are the exceptions to the rule. They're not the rule, right? Okay. That's the kind of thing. Because what's going to happen is you're going to use this mindset, and you're going to get slept a lot. You're going to get headshot by a Widow and like get one shot before you can even bubble. And you're going to be like, crap. But that you will learn to kind of adapt to those exceptions. But the overwhelming majority of the time is to not anticipate damage, to like make them actually start to do damage. Because the worst case scenario is you take 100 damage and you pop your bubble, or 200 damage, you pop your bubble, and guess what? Your supports heal you while the bubble's active, and you're back to full HP. So it's like, it's not just good habits general, it's also min maxes like the the resources of like my support value and my tank value. It's all the juice, you know. It's kind of like flying in with Matrix as D.Va. So then while you shoot afterwards, you're regenerating your Matrix. You kind of see what I'm saying? It's like one of those like little min-max tricks. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then ironically, you're not in a position to really bubble your Torb when he actually needed it, right? Yeah, okay.
Right.
Because he got pushed immediately afterwards. You had no bubbles, you had no sidelines. GG's. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the motherload. Let's wrap this whole thing up. This is the longest individual session I've ever done. Zarya, what do you need to work on with Zarya?
Bubbles. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just.
But what about the
bubbles more
bubbles?
than anything.
You need to give yourself something to practice with the
so
bubbles, right?
Right. Okay.
Think about what's a way to phrase it in your brain that will kind of like stick or be memorable. It's tricky.
Well, some of it's just not using them before I need them.
Sure.
But to like make that more kind of actionable.
Sure.
Is to try to use them moving forward more.
Sure. How about this? Use them.
So if I'm
no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
So if I'm some of the ones that I really seem to waste were, you know, I'd get in, I'd do damage, I'd start taking damage, I would bubble my way out versus. And by the time I got out, I didn't need that bubble anymore. So just using them a little earlier. So maybe not right when I take my first 2 steps in, but that 3-4 and 1-2 back, if that makes sense.
Using them on engages from you or your team.
Using them middle of engage, not the start, not the end. Using them in the middle of the engage.
On the way out. Yeah, that's fine. Do something with it, right? If you got a bubble, do something with it, right? Yeah, exactly. I like that. You know, a lot of coaching is just like finding a way to make it stick that actually applies to your circumstance to make it memorable, right? And as you're learning, 90% of your coaching out beyond today is going to be you, not me, right? Or whoever else, right? It's going to be about ways that you can kind of figure this out. So I think you've got to sit there and squirm a little bit to figure out like, okay, how do I want to phrase this? But yeah, I think the way that you phrased it was great. And hopefully that sticks. Now, here's how you do all this right now. I don't know how much of this you've heard me from some of my other sessions, but basically, we already know your training schedule. We know your training structure. We know work, fun, minimum effective dose, cycling, all that foolishness. What you need to do now, though, you load into your 2 to 3 D.Va games. Pick something from our list above.
Yeah.
And work at it.
Okay.
Soldier 76, pick something from the list. Zarya, pick something. Reaper, pick something. Bastion. For your DPS, it was pretty easy. It was just the one thing, right? Zarya, pretty easy. But the D.Va is going to be a little bit trickier because you're going to have a lot of things kind of floating in your brain that we've talked about before, but it's going to be your challenge to isolate and prioritize one of those things at a time. And that might shift. Go ahead.
I think it all starts with the tracking threats.
I would agree with that.
If I can track threats, some of that other stuff will start to take care of itself, but making sure, you know, pre-fight, mid-fight, end of fight, knowing where my team is, knowing where their even just 2 biggest threats are. And I know usually that's probably the DPS as far as like threats I can do something about, but like, you know, knowing where that soldier probably wants to get to, knowing where that Ashe probably wants to get to. If I don't see them, know that they might be somewhere that I need to do something about.
Yep, 100%. The only disclaimer I would say is that if that gets to be too dull because you're practicing the same thing every single game, throw in some of the other details that we talked about, like managing high ground pathing. You know, maybe think about even honestly stuff that we didn't even talk about, like work on your D.Va bomb placement or your micro missile usage or your matrix management. Just different things to mix it up to keep it fresh. Because the thing is tracking threats is a marathon for D.Va players.
Yeah.
From you
Yeah,
now on
yeah,
for as
absolutely.
long as you play the hero, that is a skill that you're going to continue to develop and develop and develop. So first off, don't expect perfection even if you are practicing it. And second off, don't bore yourself with trying to push for perfection in the meantime.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
Because that kills the whole point. If you're bored practicing, then you're not really practicing. That's the real danger.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Makes
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, you know how to practice. You know your practice training structure. You know that progress is going to be slow but steady, because we're not like giving you a couple of quick tips to just get better at the game. I think the Bastion one is the closest thing that we have to a quick tip. You know, hey, instantly just you're gonna feel a little bit better with the hero for sure. But a lot of this other stuff is going to be uprooting some bad habits, so things might be kind of messy. You might play a little bit slower. You might make more mistakes. That's okay. We're playing for the long term here. And we're also trying to make you more self-sufficient as well as a player. So, like in terms of like you understand the game better. Do you have any questions before we wrap this up? Anything?
Oh man.
Don't feel the need to come up with them now, because you can ask me them anytime.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, I really, really, really appreciate it.
No problem.
This has been awesome. I've learned a ton, and it's been really fun kind of having this all summer as like, something to stay sharp at, like
Sure.
just working at something you care about, even if it's just a hobby or just for enjoyment or whatever. But like to have that thing and to kind of stay sharp that way has been awesome. And,
Sure.
so I really appreciate all the content.
And for encouragement for you too, I think from looking at some of your heroes, especially like your Soldier 76 and your D.Va, it really felt like you had a pretty halfway decent understanding of the game and the hero itself as well too. I think that like, some of the work in progress that you put in is definitely showing. Maybe some of the micro, maybe some of the comfort with the hero and some of the details are kind of off, but like you're not clueless with those heroes. And that's like the best compliment. You kind of have an idea of where you're doing, which made the review a lot easier, because I kind of took what you knew and then kind of, okay, this is what you know, but this is what you need to be doing a little bit better. Okay, so any questions you have, anytime, message me. I might not be able to respond immediately.